Okay, so I tried to narrate this as I'm rolling up here. Unfortunately, the wind was so loud that you can't hear me at all, not even slightly. So, what I plan on doing today is I have this curb here I've been working in, and there's not really enough run up to come at it riding parallel to it, like you would for popping into tricks, but there is enough run up to just basically charge straight at it and slappy it. However, this crack here at the bottom keeps throwing my feet out of place. Every time I set them up to do a slappy, 9 times out of 10, whenever I go over this bump, it knocks my feet out of whack and I just can't lock in proper. So I'm going to go ahead and clean all this stuff out of this crack and attempt to bondo it and then come back and skate it. Now it's time for me to empty out my pocket. Just a little hunk of plastic Tupperware. I can mix it in. Actual convenient skate spot sized bondo. And then I have a little homemade spreader and a piece of plastic that I can mix it with. Well, it ain't perfect, but it's been a few years and it's done. And it also gave me an idea how much I'm actually working with by using a half of one of these cans. Well, I'm just going to let it dry for a couple days, and then once it does finish drying and hardening up in a day or two, I'll come back and skate it. And of course, bag and pick up your trash. Well, unfortunately, it's been raining and hailing and snowing. Nothing's bad enough that it's going to stop me from skating if the sun comes out tomorrow. But for today, I actually can't go out and check out that spot, which is kind of a bummer. But while I wait, I might as well set up a deck that I got from Dalone Skateboards. And they're based out of New Mexico. I've never skated one of their decks before, so this will be a first time. Trying it out, but so far just looking at the shape and the angles and the concave and the size of the nose and tail and the steepness of the kicks, I feel like this board's going to be pretty much perfect for me. I screwed the rails into it off camera because I'm old. But now I'm going to take some Spitfire Formula 4 conical fulls and try and dye them. I don't know if this is going to work. I may just end up with some pink wheels. I hope not. So yeah, these actually came out a nice dark red. Racing red was the color of the dye, so I didn't know. I was just worried they were going to come out like a faint pink, but they actually came out a pretty sick and wicked red. I only put in about 1/4 of a bottle of dye, and I just put enough water to like cover the wheels. And I didn't get it boiling hot. I just brought it like to the point it was about to boil, and I turned the heat down. And then after I checked it, after like 4 or 5 minutes, they were already looking like a deep dark red. So I just killed the heat, let it cool. When it cooled, I pulled them out, rinsed them off in the faucet, and yeah, now they're red. It was the first time using the pig rails, and I wasn't really a fan of them for several reasons. And I actually bought another set anyways to put on this deck, but the screws just would not go into the deck. So I ended up putting these Street Plant Tusks rails on. Now, I don't really do product reviews, but the thing is, this is the 3rd deck that these rails have been on. Like, I've never had rails go from deck to deck. It just doesn't really happen. They last really long. They only have 4 screws. The rails themselves are actually quite high and rather thick. They have a decent width too. They last a long time. And the screws themselves are rather long, so they're definitely not going to come out of the board. But yeah, overall they are definitely my favorite rails of all time, but I thought I'd try something different. The pig rails definitely do slide faster, I think. Have too many problems and issues with them, like the screws themselves breaking and the rails breaking. And I only skated this deck for like 4 weeks, and as you can see if you've watched any of my other videos, I just skate curbs. Like, there's no impact or anything. Like I said, I've never had this problem with the Street Plant Tusks, and I'll be sure to put a link to them in the description. They were closed for 3 months as they relocated, but they should be open like March 20th, 2021. This video may or may not be up by then, I don't know. So as far as my trucks go and my bushings, on the front truck I have a Bones Soft and a Bones Medium. Just because I kept blowing out the Bones Soft on the top, but I never blow out the bottom. So I just put a medium on the top, a soft on the bottom, and I just didn't tighten my kingpin very much. And the back truck kind of similar to the front. I have a medium bottom and a hard on top. It's actually not due to like blowing bushings out or anything, but just due to the fact that the hard was just a bit much, and the soft, well, not the soft, but the medium just wasn't quite enough. Alright, well, I'm going to go out and see how this bondo worked out, and if it's just going to crumble the first time I skate over it, or if I did it right. Huh, well, looks like I mixed it right, because it's hardened up like concrete. And doesn't seem to be flaking. Let's see if it actually helps me to be able to get in a slappy crook on this curb here. This might be the tallest thing I've ever tried to slappy crook, but it's also a new trick. I don't know. Let's see.
Well, I got into it, and this does help more than what I thought it actually would. Especially when I looked at the angle of it. It was pretty abrupt, and I thought, well, maybe you won't throw my feet off all the time, but it actually hasn't thrown my feet off once. That one wasn't very good. It was sketchy. Only held it for a split second. It slipped down into a nose slide, so let's see if I can at least get a clean one. Well, the bondo worked. I didn't really get my slappy crook quite the way I wanted it, but new board, new wheels. I haven't gotten used to this deck or even did any flat ground or anything to warm up, so far I'm really stoked on the deck. But I didn't really feel like I would need to. It has a nice long nose and tail with nice steep kicks to offset that. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked to skate this deck some more.